Okay, so we were talking about these objects, these functions that we have got, new three functions. What we have done is we took the tangent vectors sigma u, sigma v, sigma uu, etc. and differentiated. I mean, sigma u, sigma v, you differentiated and took the dot product with the normal. So, how the sigma u, sigma v move in the normal direction, the component of sigma u, sigma v in the normal direction. That's exactly what we have done. In fact, dot product basically tells you, the general principle is, suppose let us say, this you come across in linear algebra. Suppose you have a basis, let's say R2 or R3, wherever, any inner product space. Suppose you have an orthonormal basis, V1, V2, etc., Vn in Rn, orthonormal. So every vector you can write as, any vector can be written as sigma sum alpha I Vi. These alpha i's are called the components of V in the direction of Vi. So how do you get alpha I? You just take V inner product with Vi, then on the right side linearity gives you all, alpha j if I want. So inner I is the variable. So inner product with that, Vi, Vj's are 0 except when I is equal to j. So you get alpha Vi, and others are alpha I, Vi, others are 0. This is 1. So that's what you get. That means if you have a vector, you want to know the component of V in the direction of Vi. If you have an orthonormal basis, you take the inner product. So what we are doing is inner product, you are taking the inner product with n. I mean, you can assume that this is a basis, you can add two more vectors and make it the basis, it doesn't matter at all. So basic thing that I want is, if you are given any vector and I want a component in the direction of W, say W is a normal, unit vector, what do you do? Just take that. Okay, that's a general principle I'm telling. So its movement in the direction, its component in W, look at the W perp, you leave it, from there how much it moves. In W perp it will have other components by using other vectors. That is because when you take an orthonormal basis, keeping this also there, the other vectors are on the perpendicular plane, and that you don't have to know the component. This is independent of such. This is a general geometry of inner product spaces. So what we have done is, this guy is, this is equal to you have your sigma u, and then you differentiate it, how much sigma u moves in the direction u. So you just do this and then take its component in the normal direction. So it is the tangent vector sigma u, how it moves. How it moves in the normal direction, as in the u direction. Then you have m as sigma u, or it doesn't matter, sigma u in the v direction, and what is its component in the normal direction. And then the final one is n is equal to sigma u in the direction of sigma v, look at the direction of v, and you get the rate of change of sigma v. Sigma v is a tangent. That tangent, if you move in the v direction, what will happen to the rate of change? Sigma v dot nn. Yeah, this notation is very important. Unfortunately, in textbooks by bold letters they can distinguish, but I can't do that, so I do this. Okay, so they are very significant because, but at the same time, these numbers depends very much on the sigma that you have. That's the parameterization is always good to do computation, But then you are not interested in the properties of parameterization. We are interested in the properties of the surface. So anything that depends on the parameterization has no interest in it. So basically LMN are not all that interesting, because it keeps varying depending on your parameterization. So how that helps you? So it doesn't help you much. But at any time computation, this will help you. So therefore, in some sense, it says how much we are taking sigma u, that's one direction of the tangent. Sigma v is in the other direction of the tangent. I mean, we don't know, u and v varies here, sigma v may be in a different direction. How they vary as you move in the plane. In the u direction, you move. This sigma u and sigma v tangent vectors will move. How does it move? And what are its components in the normal direction? That's the important thing. So what we want to say, this gives you an interesting thing. Okay. So let's look at any curve. Okay. Let gamma, for the time being, let us take as be a curve, smooth curve, regular smooth curve, and if you want, you can fix T naught as in alpha beta, fix all those, and alpha T, gamma T naught, let's call this some point P. So you have your surface, okay, so, and this is the point P through which your curve passes through, okay. Well, it's not very indicative of anything that even if you want to understand, okay. Let's look at this gamma. Sorry, this is gamma. Let's take a surface patch. Of course, that's the important thing. The moment you want to do computation, you have to get into a surface patch. So let us take a surface patch. Then you can route this through this. So you will have a point here, u naught, v naught. This is your t naught. So this is your u naught, v naught. These kinds of data, a couple of times you do, then you must get used to it. Sigma of this p, that's equal to, one is gamma t naught, the other one is sigma u naught, v naught. Just, so you go here, you go to t naught, and then you have this what is that function uv here, and gamma t is equal to sigma composite this uv. So sigma, this we have proved in the beginning. It's a very, very useful thing. Every path can be routed through the surface patch. So once it is done, let us look at gamma dot. Of course, gamma dot we know. I am not going to write the points, it's not necessary. Sigma u dot, so sigma u evaluated at ut, vt, u dot t plus etc. So I am not writing this v dot, any point, okay. Of course, these are tangent vectors. Tangent vectors are not the one. This is rate of change of tangent vectors. So we will look at this guy. So gamma double dot. Gamma double dot we can write. Gamma double dot is sigma u. So basically what you are doing, d by dt of this function. But remember sigma u, though it is not written like this, probably for once at least to understand why all this complication, sigma u composite u t vt. That means sigma u composite u comma v. So this is the u comma v function, composite sigma, that is what it is. So you can write sigma u comma v at t, that's what it is, u dot t plus sigma v at composite u comma v at t into v dot t. So that's gamma t. Now gamma double dot t is, of course, it's product, chain rule. So derivative of this into this plus this into the derivative of this, and so is here. So what is the derivative of this? This is very important. Sigma has two component functions u and v. So you have to do both. So first sigma u, you differentiate with respect to u. So you get sigma u into u dot t. No, you have differentiated with respect to u here. So you have to take u dot t. Then next is differentiate this with respect to v plus. So there are two component functions. First differentiate with respect to u and differentiate u with respect to t, because we have to differentiate with respect to t. So sigma u, then u dot t plus sigma v, let's not evaluate at one part. Sigma u, now you differentiate with respect to v and then differentiate v with respect to t. So that's the derivative of this into u dot t, u dot. Okay, plus this into a derivative of this. So sigma u double dot t. Okay. So this derivative of this into u dot t plus this into derivative of this. That was what it is. Plus similar thing here. So now you must be knowing. So this is sigma v with respect to u dot plus sigma v with respect to v dot into whatever v dot plus sigma v this v double dot. So that's how you do it. Chain rule. It's basically chain rule. You can write the matrices and then see exactly this is what happens. Well, calculus is important for doing this. Now, okay, this looks fine. If you want, I can rewrite this. So this is equal to sigma u, what do you get? U dot square plus only one term in sigma. This is sigma vu, uv and sigma vu. If you assume sufficient differentiability, at least the second derivative continuous, then these two are equal. We said enough smoothness you assume. So assume that. So sigma uv is the same as sigma vu. And then what are the coefficients? U dot, v dot. Here again u dot, v dot. This is v dot. I'm sorry if it is v dot. So coefficients are same. So twice sigma uv, which is the same as sigma vu, u dot, v dot. Only once derivative. Plus. I'm yet to get into this other one. So let me write down these second derivatives, then we will come. Sigma vv, v dot square plus what is the other one? Left out is sigma u double dot plus sigma v double dot. So that's what we have got. Okay. So now that's the curvature of this. That's the curvature vector of any curve that you get. So what happens? Yes, things look nice, but now what we do is it can be easily computed for anything. Once if you know u and v, then it's not an issue. Now let us look at this. The normal, component, that means the component of curvature in the normal direction of this vector. So gamma double dot, if I want to get the normal direction, then take the n of course at that point p, or I want to look at any point is okay, so therefore t, so n at any point u comma v or ut comma vt, that is what basically it is. So if you like, you can write ut vt. So take dot product on both sides. So that's what we did left side. Now right side, here is it. So if you take dot product here, what do you get? L, of course ut vt I am not writing, but that's too much of complicated. It is at the point ut vt and u double dot t square, u dot t square plus, and this is 2m u dot v dot plus this is n v dot square, this is ordinary n, okay, plus what is this? Sigma u dot n is 0, sigma v dot n is 0, so there is nothing more. You are taking dot product with this. So here dot product sigma uu dot n, that is L. Here sigma uv dot n, that is m. And here sigma vv dot n, that is the function n. And sigma u dot m n and sigma v dot n are 0, because they are tangent vectors orthogonal to the normal, so that component limits. So this is exactly what you get. So this LMN is a very useful, object. Once and for all you compute, then you don't have to keep on going back. So this is called, this is the normal, so there's a word for it, I'll come back to that, called the normal curvature, whatever it means, okay. So normal curvature of gamma dot, because actually it's the component on the normal direction. Component of the curvature in the normal direction. I will tell you how you decompose it. So this object is called the normal curvature of gamma, okay, at whatever point that you evaluate, at that point, normal curvature of gamma. So this can be understood in another way, okay. Of course, let's always say this is unit speed, so that to get into our, it's better, okay. So let us assume that our parameterization is a unit speed parameterization here, okay. So therefore, if gamma is unit speed, let gamma be unit speed. So that means norm of gamma dot is always equal to 1 at every point. So therefore, gamma dot double dot is orthogonal to gamma dot. This is, you can write it, if it is 1, its square is 1. So gamma dot gamma dot is 1. Differentiate, you get twice gamma dot. Gamma double dot, right hand side 0. So gamma double dot is orthogonal to gamma dot. But what are the vectors orthogonal? Let's look at this tangent. You have this tangent vector here. You have this normal vector. So now you have the tangent plane here, and this gamma dot is an element of the plane. So obviously, it is orthogonal to the normal. Okay? So it is orthogonal to the normal. So gamma dot is tangent vector, and it is also a unit vector. So we have normal, that's the standard way of writing, normal and gamma dot are orthogonal to each other. They are orthonormal actually. Okay, so in R3 you need one more vector to make it a basis. So then it's standard, if you have two orthonormal vectors in R3, just take the cross product to get the third one. Cross gamma dot, this is an orthonormal basis for R3. These two are orthogonal to each other and both are normal. So this is an orthonormal set. Just take the cross product.
Divided by norm?
Its norm is 1. Because what is the norm? Because these two are orthogonal to each other. Norm of this is norm of this one into norm of this one into sine of the angle between them. But sine of because it's 0, sine of 0 is 1. So it is norm, so you don't have to divide, it's automatically orthonormal. automatically normal. Okay, so your gamma double dot, this is always a vector in what is that, R3. So it can be written as a linear combination of them. So this is equal to some, the general notation is Kn n plus something you can give here. What is that? Alpha gamma dot plus here there is a standard notation Kg n cross gamma dot. Okay, so it's a basis. So every vector can be written as a linear combination. Now let us see what are the components. Let us take how do you get this? Let us take dot product with n. So what do you get? Gamma double dot dot n. So take dot n on the right side. So Kn n dot n. So n dot n is 1. So it is Kn plus alpha gamma dot dot n. That is 0 because gamma dot is orthogonal to a tangent is orthogonal to the normal, and this is of course orthogonal to the normal. So it is, that's all. Okay, and next is your alpha. To get it, take the dot product with the gamma dot. So gamma dot dot gamma dot, that is 0 because we have already seen gamma dot and gamma dot are 0. So it is going to be 0. What about this? N dot gamma dot, that is 0. This is alpha, and this is also 0 because gamma dot is orthogonal to a cross product. So right hand side is alpha, left hand side is 0. So there is no alpha, alpha is 0. And then finally Kg. What is Kg? This is a very standard, as I have observed in the beginning. If you have an orthonormal basis, if you want the coefficients, just take the dot product with them, the others automatically go. So now again take, what is that? That is gamma double dot dot gamma dot this guy. N cross gamma dot, we have no idea what it is. That is the other side. Left hand side, what will happen? When you take dot product with n dot gamma dot, this is 0, n cross gamma dot, and this also 0. So you will have only Kg n cross gamma dot dot n cross gamma dot, that's the norm of it, that's 1. So Kg on the right hand side, left hand side, gamma double dot cross this. Okay? Yeah, that's the box product basically. Yes, that's the box product. Yes. So now, if you look at this thing, this is gamma dot, how much gamma dot, your tangent vector, moves in the direction of the normal. Because you are taking double dot and looking at its component in the normal direction. Gamma double dot is going to be a vector orthogonal to gamma dot. So it will lie somewhere in R3, but orthogonal to gamma dot. So you have your tangent vector, you have a plane perpendicular to that. So your gamma double dot will be a vector here. We don't know which vector is it. So in this vector, what is its component in the normal direction, vertical direction? That's exactly what this, and that's exactly what you get here. How much you are going up and down on the surface. You are moving along with the surface up and down. How much is that? How much you are moving? Because this gamma dot is actual movement in R3. It is not relative to the surface. So normal direction move means what? It's exactly relative to the surface. If surface goes up, you will go up. Surface go down, you will go down. Surface goes, that movement is exactly what is indicated here. That's the normal curvature. Curving in the direction of, moving in the direction of, when you are traveling in a car, how much you go up and down. Exactly whenever you go up and down, that's exactly what is the quantity measured by what is that, Kn, this guy. okay, normal curvature, and that's the formula of this. And what is that? Kappa n, we have gamma double dot dot n, we have already said that is going to be L u dot square plus 2m u dot b dot plus n v dot square. So that's this also somewhat indicates how the surface moves up and down. You know, when you travel, see, there are two ways. There is something, this is anyway always 0. This term is not there. But there is this, there's a reason why this is called a G. That is, when you are traveling, you move left and right. If you have experience of driving a car, when you keep your steering straight, still your car moves up and down, depending upon the road moving up and down. And that's exactly what it is. The moment you slightly turn the steering, the car will move left, along with up and down also if there is up and down in the road. So that movement is what? Along the surface, whatever movement, this is called geodesic movement, there is a reason for that. So it is on the surface you move left and right. The other one is, along with the surface you move up and down. That up and down movement is this. The left and right movement is indicated by this. That is going to be along the surface left and right. Because this vector is also a tangent vector. Because it is orthogonal to the normal vector. So it's a tangent vector, and it's a tangent vector perpendicular to your gamma dot. If you are traveling like this, your gamma dot, n cross gamma dot is either on it's in fact, the way we have done, n is this vector, and right hand thumb rule says n is this x-axis, gamma dot is taken as the y-axis, then this is taken as the z-axis. So if this is your x-axis, so if you want to say, then if I look at it from this side, if you look at from this side, if you look at it is x-axis, then y-axis, then your z-axis must be that direction, right? I can denote it. Okay, let me look at it. This is your n, this is your gamma dot, and this is your n cross gamma dot. This is gamma dot, this is the plane perpendicular to that, and this is your n, and this plane, namely the xz plane, that's exactly your what should I say, your plane perpendicular, the tangent plane. This is the tangent plane, and the plane perpendicular to that is this yz plane. And when you are traveling in this direction, on your left side, you see this vector. So that's the tangent plane. This is the normal plane. You are not worried. You are traveling along the tangent plane. You look on the left side, you are going to see your n cross gamma dot, if you are using your right hand thumb rule. Okay, so that's what you see. So that will tell you if this quantity is positive, you are moving in the left direction, because you are moving in this direction on the surface. If this is negative, then you are moving in the right direction. If this is 0, then your steering is kept steady, nothing. It doesn't move at all. Similarly, if this is positive, you are moving in the upward direction, you are climbing. If Kn is 0, you are on the plane travel. If the Kn is negative, you are going downward, because you have taken your normal upward. So if the inner product with the upward vector is positive, that means you are climbing up. So when Kn is positive, you are climbing up. When Kn is negative, you are climbing down. If Kg is positive, you are moving in the left direction on the surface. If Kg is negative, you are moving towards the right direction on the surface. If Kg is 0, you are now straight. This is the general, geometry of these two numbers, indication of these two numbers. Okay. one more indicator of that I can tell you. So let me take a surface. I mean, the picture is a little, interesting kind of picture. So let me draw a surface like this. Okay, the surface is like this, something like this, a surface. So I'll draw the other side. What we are looking at is take a vertical plane. So let us fix a point. Vertical, then I should tell what is the meaning of vertical plane. Vertical plane is a plane that contains the normal vector. So here the normal is this. Okay? Of course, any plane, in fact you have infinitely many planes containing the normal, that one, and it will intersect. We can take one of them. So maybe some plane, I don't know how to draw it, let's see. Okay, so it will intersect this. So when it intersects, where will it intersect? It may intersect something like this. Okay, and the plane so this part, let us say on the other side, one of them on the other side, one of them this side, whichever. I hope I'll give. Plane is, no, this way is the right thing, right? Because the intersection I am showing. So this side I will put the other side. So this is the plane. And the condition is that this normal vector here will be on this plane, and the plane intersect intersect the surface at this point. Okay, so this is a bit okay, so that's how it is. I don't know the better way of drawing a picture. So this plane intersect along some curve. So let S be a surface, smooth, regular, everything, surface with surface P be a point of S and pi be a plane of course containing the normal at P intersecting S along the curve, along a curve. See this curve, the surface may be big, here and there it might intersect. We are not worried about it. We are only interested in a small curve around the point P. Other places it may intersect planes, it may intersect at even some touches some places, so that we are not worried about that. Okay, along a curve gamma such that this point, so you will have your alpha beta, and that goes to this, and there is a point T naught here, and that's mapped to the point, P. So alpha T naught equal to P. Gamma T naught. So there is a point T naught, whose image is P. So we have done. Now we, as usual, we want to find out what will happen. Okay. So let's look at this. Now, let's say unit speed, because you are taking a parameterization. So let's again parameterize it, unit speed. So this intersection in a small interval around P, I mean small neighborhood around P, look at the intersection, it will be a curve, and that curve, we are going to parameterize unit speed and take that and then look at this gamma dot. So, I mean whatever we have observed, almost the same thing will come. Gamma lies on S intersection pi. So, in particular, gamma lies on pi. This is your plane pi, okay? So, gamma lies in pi. Then, gamma dot is parallel to pi. Well, if you want to say this is the origin, then you can also say that gamma dot lies in the plane there, pi. Anyway, we are not worried because the vector equation gamma, if your pi is equal to, you must have seen this earlier. If your pi is UA plus VB plus C, if that is the equation, and if gamma lies on this, then what will happen to gamma dot? Gamma dot will be certainly parallel to this, parallel to this plane. So, you look at gamma is going to be, gamma t is ut a plus vt plus c. It will be some vt b plus c. Some this unt some function such that this will happen because it has to lie here. So, it should be a linear combination of a and b plus t. So, your gamma t should be some ua plus some vb plus c. So, it varies on, depends on your t, therefore, it will be ut plus vt plus c. And what is gamma dot? Gamma dot is equal to u dot t, a plus v dot t b plus 0. That means this is parallel to this plane. So, if gamma lies in some plane, gamma dot is going to be parallel to that. The plane doesn't pass through the origin. If it were passing through the origin, it would have been exactly on the plane. But they may not lie, but doesn't matter to us, okay? Gamma dot is parallel to that. Okay, so that's quite trivial to verify. So, let me erase this. Gamma dot is parallel to pi. So, hence, but what do you know about pi? Pi contains the normal vector, okay? And so, pi, both n and gamma dot are parallel to pi. Hence, pi is orthogonal to what is that? N cross gamma dot. So, if you see, for all those normal curvature etc., what we require is gamma dot n left side, n cross gamma dot. But this plane contains the tangent vector because gamma is in the plane, so gamma dot will be certainly in the plane. Normal is already in the plane. Okay, so both these are parallel to the plane. So therefore, it will be orthogonal to this. So what about gamma dot? Since, as we did earlier, gamma is on pi, gamma dot as well as gamma double dot lies in or is parallel to what is that? Parallel to pi. Gamma double dot is also parallel to pi. Okay? And what does that mean? Parallel to pi, I mean that parallel to a vector in pi. Okay, so that's what it means. Hence, gamma double dot n cross gamma dot equal to 0. Because pi is orthogonal to that, so any vector on pi is going to be orthogonal to that. Origin is the only problem in all our discussions. The parallel I have to say because pi plane is here but the origin is here. But gamma dot, gamma double dot, etc. is going to be parallel to some vector in pi. So I just parallel to pi. Actually, to be very precise, is parallel to some vector in pi, because pi is here, some point in pi, some vector here, your gamma double dot will be somewhere here, okay, because it's going to be footed at origin. So therefore, this is 0, hence gamma double dot is actually equal to kappa n n. Okay, because kappa kg is going to be 0. Kg is nothing but gamma double dot n cross g, that is 0. So therefore there is no kg factor, so you have only gamma double dot. So this is what, I mean, no surprise, because you are taking a vertical plane. So what you are traveling is straight there, you don't have any movement to left or right. So therefore obviously your left right movement is completely blocked, I mean 0. So the only movement available is k dot, I mean the normal direction. And in fact, to be very precise, I forgot to write earlier, this you can see, this is, so take the curvature of gamma, this is curvature of gamma is this, norm of gamma double dot. We have seen in any Rn, the curvature we define like this, and that is exactly modulus of Kn. We don't know whether Kn is positive or not. So curvature is exactly modulus of the normal curvature. And in the general case, so that is in general, I forgot this, so let me recall here. In general, for any curve, I hope you won't get confused because I am not using this, okay. Any general curve on a surface, any general curve gamma on S, gamma double dot is equal to kappa n at every point plus kappa g n cross gamma dot, and therefore let us take the norm square. Kappa is, so kappa square, that's the curvature, ordinary curvature that we defined about in the that we studied in the beginning of the course. Take any curve in R3, the curvature is defined as norm of gamma double dot, provided you have a unit speed. Of course, I take in general, for any unit speed, okay, this parameterized unit, then gamma double dot is enough, otherwise you need a little extra work. That's equal to norm of this. Norm of this is the norm square of this, that inner product of this with itself. So inner product of this with this is kn square. Inner product of this with this is 0 because n is orthogonal to this, it's gone. And inner product of this with this is 0. Inner product of this with itself is kg square. So generally, your square of the curvature is the sum of the squares of the normal curvature plus and geodesic curvature. Anyway, this is a digression from what I was doing. So what we wanted to say is that for a vertical section, normal section is what the word used. That means a plane normal section. Whatever that the curvature of that curve that you get is exactly the normal curvature. But remember, yeah.
Normal section all along that is not only at the point P.
This will be in some neighborhood, it will be normal. But after, it may not be very sure that after you go a little away, it may not be normal. So you have to be a little careful, because we don't know if the surface, as you move, if the surface tilts, then it's not going to be. So at this point it is normal. That doesn't mean after moving a while it is normal. No. If the curve goes like this, if curve slightly turns and your plane is like this, it's no more normal. So normal is not in any, it's at that point. Okay, let's make it very clear. It's at that point, all these evaluations at P, it works. Even if you move very little, if it is getting tilted like this, even if you move a little bit, it will not be normal. So you have to be careful. One more thing is that this plane you can rotate. Keeping this normal like this plane you can rotate. So in all the directions you can take and find the normal curvatures. So in some sense, sitting at that, take a normal plane, that means a plane containing the normal, you rotate it around without moving, from this point. Then you can get in all the directions, you can get the normal curvature. So it tells you whether the surface is going up in some direction, down in some direction. Just look at this one. Keep rotating your plane, fixing this normal, and then you rotate it and compute the curvature. Then it will tell you how the surface is moving in each and every direction. Just the surface. That is the use of second fundamental form, because second fundamental form completely determines that. Of course, it requires work. You should have the formula for the surface. You should have the that's enough. Then you can find the normal anyway is fixed. Now you intersect the normal plane, and then keep on rotating the plane, and each of them you intersect, get the curve, parameterize it, unit speed. It's not trivial, and then look at its curvature. And that gives you this. Okay. And all that you need is to, gamma double dot and take with a normal, dot product with a normal. So that tells you how the surface moves, surface curves in each direction. Yeah.